Okay, thanks everybody for joining us. This morning, we're lucky to have Pavel joining us to talk about some of his ideas on verification of disarmament. So Pavel.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me for this opportunity, and I will try to make it interesting and hopefully useful. As you see from the title, it's the general, kind of the umbrella topic is verifying nuclear disarmament without access to sensitive information. Or as I try to put it, we can eliminate all weapons without ever seeing a weapon and knowing anything about the weapon. So that's the basic idea. So let me just see if I could figure out how to. Okay, so this is how it works. So this is in fact the line or the approach that we've been developing at UNIDIR for quite some time now. I think our first report was 5 years ago on zero deployed non-strategic weapons in Europe. And then we've done some work on the verifying the removal of weapons, then deferred verification, and the dismantlement of weapons, and then we also I try to apply this concept to the denuclearization in North Korea. So as you can see, there are a few reports out there. So if they're all on the website, and I will. So what I will do, I will try to give you. Walk you through some of these concepts and ideas, and I hope you will get a sense of what this is all about. So first of all, weapons, and here what we are doing is the disarmament or arms control, or as we say, disarmament, in fact. So as we all very well know, so far, all nuclear disarmament dealt with elimination of delivery systems. So we never really dealt with the elimination of warheads, and that was the INF Treaty, the START Treaty. They all talked about eliminating delivery systems, missiles, and aircraft, and things like that. The New START, in fact, brought an interesting dimension because in addition to accounting for delivery systems, New START actually allows both sides to know how many weapons are deployed. And that number is declared, and that number is verified, and there is a procedure for that. So I mean, it's not very straightforward, but basically, we know how many weapons are there deployed, and that is an interesting development. And of course, now that we are looking at the end of the New START Treaty in 4 years, apparently people are asking sort of, what do we do next? And as again, you all very well know, the next big thing is that we need to limit all nuclear warheads. Which means strategic and non-strategic, and I think this would be definitely this would be political push in the if it ever comes to any negotiations. And in fact, again, in the last months of the Trump administration, the United States tried to push this idea and to have this kind of a agreement on limit of all nuclear warheads. And the idea, of course, is that Russia has, 1,000, 2,000 non-strategic warheads, and the United States has like from 150 to 300. So there's this disbalance, and it's always a good political point to say that, well, we need to limit all weapons, although there is a disbalance in strategic non-deployed warheads, but that's a different issue. So, but of course, if you, I mean, theoretically, you could think about something like that. And it is not necessarily a bad idea to limit all nuclear weapons, to have a limit and say that we let's have, I don't know, one of the most popular ideas in DC, as I understand, is that let's have a ceiling of, I don't know, 3,500 warheads, and the parties would be free to decide how they partition it between strategic and non-strategic, which in my view is a very bad idea. But the primary challenge, though, is how do you count weapons? How do you do that? If you start kind of thinking about this systematically, you quickly realize that, well, you could probably count weapons somewhere, but then the question is, how do you know that they are not elsewhere? There is no some kind of a storage site that has another 1,000 of weapons, or how do you know that there is no production facility that is just kind of churning out those weapons as you are trying to limit or eliminate. So in the end, if you think about this systematically, you have to admit that in the end you would have to basically establish control over the entire nuclear complex, the entire all the production facility, and in fact you would need to take control over the fissile material stocks as well, which is not a small thing to do, especially given that we are not yet even at the point where both sides are ready to disclose how many weapons they have, non-strategic, or where they are. Not surprisingly, the Trump administration effort went nowhere, but the attempts are made, and people are trying to come up with various ideas how to do that. You may have seen there was a recent report done by the Monterey Center, the Everything Counts, or something like that, where they also try to come up with clever ways of accounting for all nuclear warheads. In my view, that's the dead end, because I just don't see, I mean, let me put it that way, even if we have an agreement on the political level, sort of that both parties, the United States and Russia, would agree that let's have a limit on nuclear warheads. There are just the verification challenges are just enormous, and I again, they may have been solved sometime in the future, but I think just as a starting point, it's just nowhere. In my view, a better approach that would make verification easier is a different one. What about the limit on deployed weapons? And in fact, we already have this limit in New START. We have a limit. New START says we have 1,550 deployed warheads. It's almost because the bombers are kind of they are category on their own, but the reality is that we have roughly about 1,200 warheads deployed on ICBMs and SLBMs, and all other weapons are not deployed. non-strategic weapons or bomber weapons, for that matter, strategic bomber weapons, they are not deployed in the sense that they are not attached to their delivery systems in a way that ICBM and SLBM warheads are. So, and in my view, we should be able to agree on keeping it that way and saying that, okay, we have 1,200 deployed warheads. Let's limit it that number, and let's make sure that all other warheads are not deployed. What would that mean? So this is a map that shows where the weapons are in Russia. So and there are various kind of levels of non-deployment, if you will. So these dots are weapon storage facilities, and as you can see, there are broadly two kinds of storage facilities. The big red dots are what is known as national level facilities. There are 12 of them. These are large, presumably central facilities that store large number of weapons. The little dots are what I call base level storage facilities. So these are where weapons, including non-strategic weapons, not all of them are non-strategic. For example, the green dots are the storage facilities for the strategic rocket forces bases. And some of those are naval storage facilities that store weapons for strategic for SLBMs. But most of the blue dots or what's these the purple ones, they are Air Force or naval kind of local sort of not SLBM naval. And they are normally store weapons that are assigned to non-strategic delivery systems. So that would be, let me just check now. This is so. Normally, for example, if you have an airfield, there is a storage facility that stores weapons that would be delivered by aircraft that are based on that airfield. And aircraft would mean this could be non-strategic, kind of a shorter range aircraft, or it could be strategic bombers. They are also, if we take strategic bomber bases, basically they are also the strategic bombers are not kind of sitting there with Alchems attached. All the weapons are in storage, and that storage site is a few kilometers away, at least from the airfield, for example. So the idea would be to kind of non-deploy them even further. The idea would be to move weapons from those base storage, base level facilities to those red dots, sort of to move weapons away from the delivery systems. Why would that be a good thing? One is that by moving them away, you are moving them pretty far away. So this is, for example, the structure of storage sites that are attached to the the national level facility in Vologda. So as you can see, if you would remove weapons from Kaliningrad, they would go to this national level Vologda site, and from Gachina and Soltsy. So, and that's about 1,000 kilometers away. So if Russia would want to deploy something in Kaliningrad, it would have to first move weapons from Vologda to Kaliningrad and sort of and which is not a trivial operation. And in fact, I would argue that this kind of arrangement would be, then the beauty of this, because again, the title of the presentation was Disarmament Without Access to Information. Then you could verify that all those base level facilities are empty. And that is, I'll get to that in a moment. But as you could imagine, verifying that something is empty is easier than counting the number of weapons stored there. Finally, or also very importantly, the advantage of this kind of a removal of weapons to national facilities, the advantage is that then we will know that they are pretty far away from being deployed. And as we have seen in the current, in the war in Ukraine, that is a useful knowledge. This is, when the US intelligence community says that we don't see any signs of those weapons being deployed, that is a useful knowledge. And in my view, it is much better to know that, for example, this site in Kaliningrad is empty than to have some kind of a proof that it has, I don't know, 24 or 12 weapons. So the number doesn't really matter. Knowing the number doesn't really give you much. So, and that's that is the point of this arrangement, that removing weapons is useful. Things are a little bit different in Europe, in NATO, but fundamentally it's roughly the same. So how would it look like? So these are, when the non-strategic weapons are deployed, they are deployed in a certain way. They are not attached to their delivery systems. They are stored in a certain way. In Russia, in Russia, they are stored in containers in this facility, in these underground storage sites. And in the United States or in NATO, US weapons are stored in these vaults. And as you can imagine, if we remove these weapons from their storage, from their deployed state, from their storage bases, then we could verify. We could go there. We could walk in and see that nothing is deployed. So verifying and that would not require knowledge of anything. You don't have to see a weapon to see that there is no weapon there. So that's the point. Of course, it's not entirely straightforward, because it is good if we can walk into an empty room and we can say that the room is empty, but for this arrangement to work, you need to be able to kind of look into containers. Sort of, and again, as you can see, these are Russian gravity bombs. These are kind of they are partially uncovered, but they are normally they are in the container. You could see the base of the container. Or if you see, for example, this Iskander missile, this is actually 9M729, as was shown by Russia. Then you may want to know that it's not nuclear. But as we know, if we know that something is not nuclear, that means that we could be tough with that object. We could kind of probe it with certain tools that would not be normally available if you are dealing with an object that could be nuclear. So that's another advantage. And there are here are some of the some of the ideas. The simplest one is, in fact, the color markings. So if you look at the missile, and this is the Russian, I believe it's a Scud missile warhead, it would be color coded. And if you think about that, no responsible custodian of nuclear weapons would paint training mockup on a live weapon. So that's just not how it works. Sort of not in the normal circumstances. So you could just look at the color coding and make sure that, okay, this is what I see is not actually a live weapon. There are, since we know that there is nothing nuclear that is supposed to be there, we could, as I said, we could use active measurements. So this is in the center. This is the experimental setup that was done by a group at Idaho National Lab. And they actually they could look into walls. Sort of, this is the active neutron source, pulse source, and they are looking at delayed neutrons, I believe, and basically they could detect actually very small amounts of material. The Alex Glaser and his group in Princeton, they did this gamma ray setup that also you just need to make sure that there is no kind of a shielding there, and they do that with the reference source, which is in fact active method in a way. But again, since you know, or the owner knows that this is not, there is nothing nuclear there, then you could do that without necessarily endangering or kind of presenting a problem of exposing something nuclear to neutrons or gamma rays. There are. We also have. I have an idea of you could do that kind of in a more systematic way. This is the idea of kind of a non-nuclear template. So you could, if you agree in advance that certain objects could be exposed to certain measurements, then you could pretty much rule out. You could examine pretty much everything, and to make sure that it is not nuclear, you could adjust your measurement system. So that is again. Let me just check. Yes. So let me go back. So in a way, again, the point here is that if you do this kind of arrangement, if you agree that you remove weapons to some kind of a central storage, to some away from the delivery systems, then you could verify that fact. And you could verify that, and you don't need to know anything about weapons. You don't need to know the number of weapons. You don't need to know the type of weapons. You don't really need to know anything. You just need to know that certain things are empty, and you need to have a procedure to verify that certain bunkers are empty. And as a kind of a side note, we are right now, we are among other projects here. One project that we're working on, we are trying to put together. We are putting together a mock-up exercise. So we hope to have a field exercise that would actually check some of these procedures. We won't be able to do the neutron. But we'll do the kind of, we have a protocol. We had a workshop about a month ago here in Geneva, and we hope to have, I hope that it will work out, that the Swiss armed forces will give us an actual military base, and we would be able to walk through and sort of see what works and what doesn't. So that's the practical application. So in terms of, just very quickly, in terms of kind of removal of weapons, once you remove weapons, you could do further steps. You could eliminate the support infrastructure. So, and you can see the sort of, for example, if you have a facility that doesn't have climate control, then you can be reasonably certain that nobody would store nuclear weapons there on a permanent basis. So there are no support equipment, and and these things could be verified. You could go further, and you could do the nuclear capable systems. We've done some of that in the START New START. There is a conversion procedure. There was an interesting example of an agreement between Russia and Ukraine back in the day, when Ukraine was able to verify that aircraft deployed in Crimea, when Crimea was firmly under Ukrainian control, that Russian aircraft that are deployed there, they are not nuclear capable. They literally would go to the cockpit and they would check that there is no arming equipment there installed. So they were able to develop a protocol that would do that. So these are weapons. Now so again, we just move weapons into a bunker. And you don't need to know. Again, I would emphasize that you don't need to know how many weapons are there. You just need to know that they're all removed. Now, fissile materials. This is the deferred verification. My apologies to those who have seen that presentation. So if we are the idea sort of it started as a problem with the fissile material cutoff regime, and as you know, there is a problem there. So what do you do with the existing stocks? Many states want existing stocks to be somehow accounted for, or better still eliminated. One kind of a objection, definitely done by the United States, is that we cannot do anything about existing stocks because we cannot declare our existing stocks in a verifiable way. Because a lot of material is still in weapons, in active weapons. And some material is in weapons that are in dismantlement queue, but they are still weapons. There is a lot of material weapon components. Then there is a weapon-related material that still has sensitive kind of a form. It's isotopic or what have you. It is, even though for some of these categories you could kind of think of something, but it is clear that nobody would, no nuclear armed state would allow you to go and verify how many material is in your weapons. So that's the, because weapons most of them are deployed. So the verifiable declaration is a challenge. And also the verified elimination is also a challenge because, again, a lot of material, again, as you know, in the US, it's a lot of material is still in pits or in some other components. So you cannot really just kind of turn it over to the IAEA. You need to do something. And there was quite a bit of work done, the trilateral initiative and all that. And that didn't quite go anywhere, but it was understood that it is a difficult issue. So also the problem with the declaration is that if you don't have access to materials in active use, But there's also the problem that your accuracy of your data regarding the total amount of material is limited. And we know full well that the United States, when the United States ran the inventory out of 94 or so tons of plutonium, I think 3 or 4 tons were unaccounted for. That was inventory difference. So and that's the United States. You could imagine that in other states it's even worse. So and that is again a challenge of verifying the declaration, but that's not the biggest challenge. So the idea is to go around that is what we call deferred verification. And the idea is to split that declaration into two portions. Sort of first you declare the total amount of material that you have to the best of your knowledge. And then you say that, but some of that material is in what I call a closed segment. And the closed segment is everything that includes weapons, that includes your weapon origin material, weapon-related material, anything that you cannot and you don't want to show to any inspector or anyone. So, so you could declare the total and declare the amount of material in weapon activities in the closed segment. The thing is that you know the amount of material in weapons is known with a very high accuracy because weapon. You know how many? I'm sure that the amount of material in in individual weapons is known down to a gram, maybe even a fraction of a gram. And weapons are countable items, so it is known with very high accuracy. So there is no uncertainty in the closed segment. It is a fixed amount, very well known. In the open segment, you kind of declare everything that you can show, which would be all your civilian industry, all non-prescribed military activities like submarines and all that. Everything is in the open, and what's in the open is open to verification, and that's. Another thing is that once you declare this separation, once you said this is closed segment, this is open segment, and you declare how much material you have in the closed segment, then you are held to account. So you cannot reduce the amount of material in the closed segment other than by just presenting that physical amount in unclassified form to whatever inspecting body there is. And that is one, if you presented it and you said, okay, I'm removing that amount from the closed segment, then okay, I'm saying that, okay, you gave me a ton and a half of plutonium. That means that your balance that is accounted for in the closed segment is now 1.5 tons plutonium less. And in the end, when all material is removed from the closed segment from weapon-related activities, then there is nothing there, and you could let people in and kind of let them check that there is nothing there. So in the end, you never tell anyone anything secret about your weapons and what you, if you don't want to tell them. So that's the basic idea. And at the same time, in the open segment, you kind of you do your normal kind of a thing. You establish a verification program, you do the physical inventory, you close the material balance, you look at the records, you do nuclear archaeology, you do everything. The point is that when you are closing the material balance, then the amount of material in the closed segment will appear there as zero move quantity. And that's, so it will be there, but it will be just, you don't have access to it, but you will see that in the balance books. So that would be, that's one way of verifying that declaration. And in the closed segment, well, no verification, it's closed. So, but the beauty of that is that you don't, it is closed, so you don't have to deal with anything classified or something like that. But as I said, all removals are accounted for accurately, but you remove the material in unclassified form. And once you remove everything, it is empty, so you can verify that. So that's the basic idea. But then you would say that, well, but in a way, maybe it's too long of a wait until you eliminate everything and sort of you open your closed segment. You at some point it may happen, but it may take decades, which it probably will. So we want to move faster. We want to have some warheads and dismantle them. We want to have the verified dismantlement of warheads. And that's also quite a few people thought about that. It eventually, there were some interesting early work in the early 90s, but eventually it kind of came roughly to this kind of a arrangement. This is the chart, you may have seen it. This is the IPNDV, and it's all kind of gravitated toward this idea that, the warhead dismantlement would need to involve all these steps. You remove weapon, you move it to some facility, you then verify the storage, then you verify dismantlement, you verify components, you sort of that, I mean, there are 14 steps all the way. And there is a certain kind of a, industry around this, I should say. I went to one of those exercises, the new dive exercise that it was in Germany in April. And that I think they verified like 1.5 steps out of this. I think it was step 9 or something. So, and it was very kind of elaborate, and you could see that you could spend a lot of effort into doing all that. However, if you, oops, I don't know if you're losing my screensaver. Okay, so but when you kind of think about that, then you realize that, well, maybe this is not really necessary. Maybe there is a simple way. And if you, sorry, I was about to skip a slide. But if you do that, you run into a number of problems. I mean, one is, what is a warhead? And you don't know. Eventually people came around saying that, oh, well, whatever you tell is a warhead is a warhead. So this is a treaty countable item. So let's deal with treaty countable items. Of course, if you're not, the warheads are supposed to be secret, sensitive, so you're not allowed to actually see them or measure. So people came up with these elaborate ideas of templates, attributes, information barriers, but again, in my view, this all could be circumvented relatively easily. For example, just a simple thing. So imagine that you agreed that both sides have only, I don't know, 500 warheads, right? But the thing is that the warheads are not on missiles. They are kind of a warheads, imagine the WAT for cruise missiles. So this is, And you have like 500 3D countable items on each side. And these are containers. But the thing is that I designed my container in a way that it contains 2 of those warheads. And in that way, if I do it systematically, then you will neither templates nor attributes would help you discover that there are 2 warheads in that container. Because the template would always give you, yeah, there is always 2, and attributes would always give you, yeah, there is enough material there for at least 1 warhead. So, and in fact, you will have 500, assuming that you do everything, you're not cheating, you'll have 500 weapons, and I will have 1,000 anytime. I mean, I just need to open up the containers and install that. So I think this is this approach to 3D countable items is very questionable. The information barrier is kind of an attachment to that. This is again, you know that whatever you do, the attributes or templates, you need to somehow do this barrier. And then you quickly run into this challenge of authenticating the barrier. So with the equipment, the software, and as someone noted very correctly, in my view, that basically you just shift this problem of secrecy from warheads to those systems to your information bearer systems, and in a way it's like I would say it's like it's turtles all the way down. So basically, because that you need to, there is no really good way to stop there. So my take is that none of that is really necessary, as you would imagine. What if you want to eliminate warheads? What you do, you just take warheads and you move them to storage. So this is the weapon storage facility. I don't know. I'm not sure I have the pointers, but it's in the lower left corner, I assume. So you move them in the storage facility, and you keep them there. You establish a perimeter, and you keep them there, and there is nothing that comes out. What is important, though, after you move them there, you also declare the amount of material that they contain. You're saying, okay, I moved a certain number of weapons there, and they contain that much plutonium and that much HEU. If you want to mask this information, you could add some kind of a blend stock. You could add more plutonium. It doesn't matter, as long as I know that the amount of material inside of that perimeter. So then the perimeter, that red arrow means that whatever, after you closed it, whatever comes in or comes out would have to be inspected to make sure that there is no fissile material there. So they're not bringing anything in or out. And that is doable, again, since we are not, the assumption is that no nuclear materials are coming in or coming out. Then you could expose whatever you're bringing in or taking out. You could expose to all kind of abuse by neutrons, gamma. What you agree? I mean, that's what you could do with the weapons. You need to do something with them, and then you could move them to dismantlement facility, which would be. It could be a separate facility geographically, but it's kind of topologically that would be the same perimeter, where the weapons are dismantled. When they move to material conversion facility, which again is all these blue lines are kind of, it's topologically the same thing. And then once you kind of convert them into unclassified form, you could then remove it from that perimeter. And then you, again, as you are removing, you subtract that removed amount from the initial balance. And that way, again, once you removed all that you declared was there in the beginning, you could walk in and verify that there is nothing there. So that's the idea. So this is what I call contain and dispose, but you can also see it's and you could do that in smaller chunks if you want. So, for example, you don't have to wait until like the entire warhead inventory is dismantled that way. You could say, okay, I'm dismantling a certain portion of material of my arsenal that contains a certain number of certain amount of warhead. Or you could say, okay, we are eliminating all ICBM warheads, and then you could actually follow that. Okay, these are ICBMs. You move kind of stuff to that bunker, the storage facility. But technically, you don't need to know how many weapons you are moving in, or how much material is in a weapon. So that's all. That is all not really necessary. So so this whole kind of a 14-step diagram is becoming very simple, because everything in this kind of red area, you don't want to look into that. You only, again, you only want to make sure that things are coming in, and then you want to make sure that things are coming out, and you account for what is coming out. As I mentioned, I think it was in the announcement. This is the general approach is actually could be applied in a variety of circumstances. As we see, the idea of kind of a zero deployed weapons in Europe, for example, the fissile material cutoff treaty, or elimination of warheads. And this is the report that I did, I think, 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago now. This is an attempt to apply this kind of approach to denuclearization in North Korea. And again, the idea would be that it would be kind of a freeze, would be freeze and verify. Would be verified end of production of fissile material. And this is the deferred verification approach to North Korea. So you agree that sort of you reach an agreement that North Korea stops production of fissile material. So in that we know this is the reactor Yongbyon, the reprocessing plant in Yongbyon, and at least the one in the enrichment facility in Yongbyon as well. I'll get to the other kind of facility. And then you ask North Korea to declare the total amount of material that it has produced. So the total amount of material, and as a subset, the amount of material that is in weapons. Note, sort of, you are not asking where the weapons are, how many weapons are there, how they are built, or how they could be delivered. No, you only want the amount of material in weapons. And once you have that information, you sort of, you start going through the verification process. So your all the facilities that are there, they are becoming kind of open segments, so the Yongbyon and others. And then by looking at the material flows, looking at what you can recover from production records, looking at the I believe that you could you could determine if, for example, there was if there is a second or third enrichment facility somewhere. Because if there is, then you will see that in the material flows, and you will sort of eventually. And definitely, if it is operating, you will definitely see that. Assuming so, the only thing that would be closed, where that would not be accessible, is the actual weapons and maybe the weapon production facilities. So they could remanufacture that. So and so the closed segment will be the weapons. And the interesting thing is that you could think that in this case the closed segment will not have the kind of a boundary as such. It never actually does, but sort of wherever the weapon is, it's in a closed segment. It's kind of carries that closed segment with it. And that way you could actually start working through verification. And at some point, you should be able, so for example, they tell you that, okay, we've produced 60 kilograms of plutonium, of which 58 kilograms of plutonium is in weapons. So I think at some point you should be able, by going through the Yongbyon and looking at the records and all that, you should be able to actually say with some confidence that this is correct. That's something that they indeed have 58 kilograms somewhere in weapons, because it is missing from the material balance or some amount like that. And then and all that time, where you're going through, North Korea would have some kind of a leverage. I mean, they would have some peace of mind, so that they have weapons, and so it's their insurance in a way that this process is not kind of abandoned or turned in some kind of direction. And then eventually, if everything goes well, then you will have they will disassemble these weapons, and they will produce the material, and then again surrender that material to whatever verifying body is there. And in the end, yeah, I mean, you will never know how many weapons were there, or actually even if were there any weapons at all. So, but that doesn't matter, because you will have good confidence that you have accounted for all fissile materials. So, and again, back, this is my final section. I believe that this kind of a general approach that tells you that you don't need to know anything about weapons to eliminate them. So that's my point. This is the kind of the hill I'm prepared to to fight on. So basically, you could do that step by step, and most of these steps are kind of within reach. The FMCT abandoned production of fissile material for weapons, that can be done. That we know how to close and how to monitor that production facilities are not producing any material that could go to weapons. With the fissile material stocks, again, the deferred verification gives you a way to make those declarations legally binding and verifiable. Admittedly, yes, the verification is deferred to some fairly distant moment, but that's not the point. But and in fact, by verifying the open segment, you will have some confidence that the declaration is reasonably correct. So large discrepancies will be discovered much sooner than full disarmament. And with nuclear arsenals, again, I think that the path is very clear. You move weapons into a bunker, and as I usually say, you move them into a bunker and you kind of strangle them there. So you first remove them from delivery systems, then you move them into containment areas, you establish that perimeter, you have the owner to declare how much material is there, and then you let the owner to dismantle those weapons there without any monitoring, any control, but the owner would have to produce and show you the material. And once all weapons are dismantled, the amount of material should be exactly the same that was declared in the very beginning. And once that happens, again, you walk into that containment area, you walk into that bunker, and you have all the opportunities to see that there is nothing there. You never need to see a nuclear weapon to actually eliminate all of them. I think that's it. Thank you very much.